So the recording has begun. This is day 1, week 11 in our journey together. Week 11, that's, how do you say 11 in Spanish?
Once.
Once. Week 11, week 11. And it's certainly a pleasure to have each and every one of you here as your exams are steadily approaching. We are in March, heading into April. Next month, some of you will be sitting your first paper. Um, and so, yeah, we right around the corner. They're right around the corner. So, yeah,
So I have a question, Mr. Uji.
go ahead.
So when we take our exams in May, we have to take another set.
In May, what you mean if you're going to take another set?
Like you say, we can be sitting our first paper. You mean like our first time taking Bgcse?
Oh, so for the Bgcse, their paper starts in April.
Oh,
Like it depends on, like, you have several papers, like for Bgcse, you have on paper 1, 2, 3. So it's several papers, so it's several sittings. See?
oh, okay.
So yeah. So so that's how it is. Okay, so let's continue from where we left off. Yes, last class. I almost said yesterday. Yesterday wasn't even no class.
You ready for these essays?
Why? Yeah, ready for them essays. Yeah, ready for I ready for them essays, boy. That's gonna be interesting to see those essays.
I have 335 words. I want to sit down and count it.
300. You read you counted today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 335 words. Why? That's a lot. Okay. Okay. So the last time we were here, we already did well, thus far we already did a large part of this paper already. We did the probability of this. Sorry, we did the probability question number 10. We did the sets question. Is my screen sharing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We did the sets question. We did the area question. We did the geometry questions. We did the algebraic translation questions. We even did the time graph, and we did the receipt. So we did 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Now we skipped number 7, and so we need to do number 7. We skipped number 7, and then we went to do this. We did number 6. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do number 7. Okay, so that's what we're gonna start off with. So we're almost done with this paper. So we're gonna finish. Well, we're gonna start and finish number 7 because we skipped that. Seeing that it's a plotting question, and we know our plotting question. Let's go. All right. So let me grab this first. So what I want you to do, first of all, if you are here, please place here present in the chat box to indicate or to let me know that you're here in my WhatsApp chat. Please do that. And also, if you don't have it out already, please take out something to write on and something to write with. All right. Okay. And then whatever I have on the screen, please write the notes and write down the solutions that I provide for it. Okay. All right. So number 7. Number 7 states, using the equation y equals 2x plus 1. What is this already?
Linear.
It's a linear equation. How do you know it's a linear equation? How do we know it's a linear equation?
Because the x is on y, so
Say it
because
again.
the x is on one side and the other stuff on the other side.
No. How do we know this is a linear equation? Anyone?
Because the power is one.
Good. The highest power of x is 1. So if the highest power of x was 2 or 3 or 4, like if it was, say, x to the power of 2, then that wouldn't be a linear equation. If it was x to the power of 3, then that wouldn't be a linear equation. But since we just have x, and if x is by itself is really to the power of 1, so whenever we have x to the power of 1, then it's simply a linear equation. Okay, so this is a linear equation right now. So someone is asking to join. Let me allow them to come in. So yeah, this is our linear equation, and they said using the equation y equals to 2x plus 1, calculate the value of y when x is equal to 2. Write it on the table below. So I want you to copy down this table, and we need to figure out what will the value of y be when x is 2. All right, so let's do this. So how would we do this? Any ideas as to how we do this?
Substitute.
Very good, substitute. So we're going to use this formula, y is equal to 2x plus 1, and we're going to note where x is equal to 2, and we're going to substitute. So we know that x equals 2. That's what we are given in the question. X equals to 2. And the equation that we have is y equals 2x plus 1. So y equals 2, in bracket, 2 plus 1. And we know that 2 times 2 is what?
4,
4 plus 1 is what?
5,
Plus 1 is 5. Good. So the value of y when x is 2 is going to be what?
5.
5, definitely.
So the thing, I had 4 when I didn't even do it. I just say 2 times 2 is 4, but I forget to add the 1.
Yeah. Certainly add the 1 is important. All right. So that's how we do it for this one. So please write this down. Write question A, copy down the table, and then write down the correct answer. Again, if you are here, please place here or present in my WhatsApp chat so that I can know that you are here. All right. Okay, so next up, can I?
Well, Mr. D,
Okay. All right, let me know when I can move it.
I am in.
All right, that's good. All right, good. All right. Okay, so we have our points, we have our x values, we have our y values. Now they ask us for number. Now for B, plot the points using the information from the table above. So we're going to use this information that we are given and plot the points. Someone is asking to join. All right, so next person. All right, so let's get our graph and then we're gonna plot the points. Okay, so the points are we have 1 and 3, so that's our first point. Point number, the x coordinate is 1, the y coordinate is 3, so let's plot that point. 1 comma 3. So we have x coordinate is 1, y coordinate is 3, so this will be our first point right there. Is that clear how we got that first point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Remember the first point now, it is 1 and 3, so it's 1 comma 3. Okay, so that's our first point, which we already plotted. Now the second point is 0 comma 1. 0 comma 1. Okay, so the x coordinate is 0 and the y coordinate is 1. 0 comma 1. So just another did this like that. So 0 comma 1. 0 comma 1. Okay, so 0 comma 1. And next up we have 2 comma 5. All right, so it's 2 comma 5. 2 comma 5. Right, so the x coordinate is 2, the y coordinate is 5, so 2 comma 5. So 2 comma 5 right out. So just those 3 points that they asked us to plot. 0 comma 1, 1 comma 3, and 2 comma 5. Okay, so that's the first thing for B. So B is plot the points. That's all they want us to do for this one. Just plot the points using the information that we have in the table. So A was to write on the table and find the value of y, which we did, and B was to plot the points. Now C is to join the points to form a straight line. Okay, so we join in the points to form a straight line. And we expect it to be a straight line because it's what?
Called linear.
Yeah, because it's a linear. This is a linear equation. All right, so let's plot the points. Sorry, not plot the points. Let's join the points with a line. So I'm gonna start from this point all the way up to this point. So this is gonna be y equals to
Mr. T,
that one.
we using the original equation or the one where we put 2 in it?
The original equation. The one where we put. What you
Like
mean?
we using the y equals to 2x plus 1, or we using the one where we add the 2 into it?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Y, no, we're using y equals to x plus 1.
Okay.
Okay. So y equals to 2x plus 1. All right. And so this is how your graph should look. All right. So I want you to send me a photo of it. It should look like this. Very simple, especially compared to the ones that we have been doing. Would you say that this is a simple one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Miss Petite, I could get the second question because I did just draw the line. I didn't write the question for that.
Okay. You want me to go back to the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Reckley. The only thing, Miss Reckley, do not um don't extend your line beyond the points. Like, don't go over it. Thank you, Ricardo. Ricardo, I don't see your x and y axis though. Thank you, Miss Cooper. Thank you, Mr. Juan. Like, you actually have to draw it in, like draw it in the y and x axis.
Me.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So this is how it's supposed to look. Thank you, Ashnet. All right. How about the rest of you? I'm not seeing anything from the rest of you. Please send in the notes for me.
Let's take my line have to be exactly in between the margin.
One. If it have to be exactly between the margin, what you mean?
Like your red dot, are your lines coming like exactly through it?
How it what?
Okay, you see your Korean line?
Yeah.
Mine's a little off, somewhat off.
No, yours look good. Oh, you mean hard, little cricket?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be straight, but looking at it, um, it doesn't come off as terrible to me. I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it ain't that bad. It definitely is fine. Now, if it was really bad, I would tell you, but it's fine. I mean, you can't compare mine to yours. I using a computer, so it can look more perfect. All right, Daniela, roll. Make sure draw in the Y and X axis, please. Okay.
Mr. D,
Hmm.
tell me what you mean by draw it in.
Like actually draw it in, like because okay, what I mean by draw it in is like actually like some like what I mean is you can't just leave it. You can't just have your points right here and just have it like so, right? You have to actually draw in your x axis, your y axis, and your x axis. That's what I mean by drawing it in.
Oh, like that. With the arrows, you mean?
Yeah, arrows and the line. So don't just say because you have it on the graph paper. No, draw it in. Now here you didn't have to draw it in because obviously if you have the paper, they already have it for you. But in your work, how you writing it down? You have to draw it in.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Road. All right. So let's continue. Okay, that was pretty straightforward in my opinion. Um. So let's move on. What paper this is what is the oh this is the right paper. Okay, so we were on. Okay, did we finish our inverse? I mean our functions? No wait.
No, we didn't finish that.
No, we didn't finish the last one, I think.
The last one. Oh yes, we did G compose H. Here, which one is the parent function and which is the baby function?
G is the parent, H is the baby.
Very good. And here, which one is the parent, which is the baby?
H is the parent, F is the baby.
Very good. So with this one, now we need to find the inverse, right? So F inverse, the function of F. Okay. Sorry, the F inverse, which is the inverse. Sorry, F inverse, which is the inverse of the function F. All right. So this one should be straightforward because it's only 1 point. Um, and we've done this before, the inverse. I don't know if y'all can remember it, but that was last year. So we have to get the function f, and we have to find the inverse of the function f. So let's just look at the steps to do this. So the steps is, the first thing you do is you set y equal to f of x. Then you want to swap x and y, or switch x and y. Then you want to solve, or you want to make y the subject of the equation. Then you want to set y equal to the inverse function, or we can say the inverse function, which is f inverse. So that's the basic steps to determining or finding the inverse. Is Nancy here?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Nancy, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good night.
Alright. All is well?
Yeah.
You sure? You're ready for no interrogation today?
No, they're not. They're not good.
Okay. Alright. Alright, good. So that's what we do. So the first thing we do is, and these steps generally follow for every time when you doing inverse, finding the inverse of a function. You set y equals to f of x. You switch x and y. You make y the subject of the equation, and then you set y equal to the inverse function, which is f inverse. Okay? And so that's what we're going to do when we are finding the inverse of this particular function. Okay, so let me know when I can move that so we could actually show you how to do it. Anyone remember us doing this before?
I think I did.
Okay. Yeah. We did this, yeah. We did this last year.
Yeah, I remember him, but the inverse.
Say it again.
I said I remember us doing finding the inverse.
Okay. Well, that's good that you remember. Okay, so let me know when I can move it.
I done.
Okay. Okay. So I can move it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let's move forward. So the function that we have here is f of x is equal to 7 minus x. That's what we have, right? That's what they give us. Now, how do we know that? Because even though they have f dot dot x arrow 7 minus x, what that really means Another way to write that, what that really means is f of x equals 7 minus x. All right, that's what that really means. So that's why instead of writing it in this way, I've written it in this format. Okay. So we have this function f of x is equal to 7 minus x. Now tell me what's the first thing that we're going to do.
So y equal f of x.
Very good. Set y equal to f of x. So this f of x, we're going to say, no, you're not equal to f of x anymore. We're going to change you. Instead of writing f of x, we're going to write y. Okay, so we change f of x into y. We set y equal to f of x. So now it's y is equal to 7 minus x. Okay, that's the first thing.
Why are we changing f of x to y?
Well, we're doing that so that we wouldn't have to keep on writing f of x. Basically because we're lazy and we want to continue, we don't want to continue writing f of x all the time. So we just want to write
So
y.
it could be any letter.
Yeah, it could be any letter. So it could be M, it could be H. But we're
Okay.
using Y, yeah.
All right.
It's interesting. Alright, so Y is equal to 7 minus F. Okay, now what is the next thing that we're supposed to do?
What's the question?
What's the next thing that we're supposed to do after we set Y?
Swap x and y.
Swap X and Y. So we're gonna switch this. So this is Y here, this is X here. We're gonna switch them. So
So you carrying the negative as well?
no, just switching the letter. So this is gonna be X, right? This is gonna be X equal to 7
7 minus y.
7 minus Y, yeah. Good. Then after we already do that, what's the next thing that we're supposed to do?
Make y subject equation.
Make Y the subject. Very good. So how can we make Y the subject of the equation now? We can do what?
You could carry the 7 over.
Very good. We can
In front of
carry the 7 over.
7.
Yeah, definitely. We can carry the 7 over. It's going to be X minus 7 is going to be equal to negative Y. Good. Alright, so are we done yet?
Yes, sir.
Say yes.
No. We have
Yes, sir.
to equal to its inverse or something like that.
No. We have to divide by what? Because this is not, Y isn't the subject yet. Negative Y is the subject. But we want Y is the subject.
So you divide by negative y.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
if we done right now.
Say it again.
I thought you was mean if I was done right now. That's why I say yes, sir.
Oh, okay. No, we divide both sides by negative 1. Okay. We know that a negative and a negative is going to cancel. So you're left with Y is equal to X minus 7. all over -1. And we have to be very careful. With this -1 at the bottom. Because this -1 at the bottom will make this -1 at the bottom, x divided by -1 is going to be -x, and -7 divided by -1 is +7. And so y is equal to
Oh, Mr. Petit, will you do this now?
itself.
You multiply -1 by x minus 7.
Say it again.
If you multiply -1 times x minus 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Badi,
Mm-hmm.
why you use -1?
Because I use -1 because I had to. This was negative. Remember, this is -1 on top, So it's -1y divided by -1. I mean, sorry, it was just -1y, but I want y by itself.
All
So
right.
I have to get rid of that -1 on top, and so that's why I divide by -1. If it was
Okay.
2 on top of it, I would have divided by 2. But since it was -1, I have to use -1 now, and divide both sides by -1. All right, what's the next step?
Set y equal to the inverse function of.
Yeah, set y is equal to the inverse function. So y is the inverse function. So this is -x plus 7. Or we could say f inverse of x is equal to -x plus 7. All right, any questions on that?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? So when we say inverse function, right? What do we mean? Inverse function just means that if I take a function, let's say f, and I multiply it by its inverse, okay, it should give me 1. Okay, that's the idea with the inverse function. So a function and its inverse multiplied by each other is going to give us 1. So the inverse is kind of like the same thing as a reciprocal, like 3, right? What times 3 is going to give me um is going to give me um it's going to give me 1. What times 3 is going to give me 1?
-3.
Mm-mm. Negative 3 times 3 is going to give me
3?
huh? What
That'll
time
be equals 1.
what times 3 is going to give me 1?
3 and negative 1.
No.
-3.
No.
1.
No.
Okay, you say what times 3 will give you 1, right?
Yeah.
Negative 1.
No. What times 3 is going to give me 1? Whatever times 3 is going to give me 1, I call that the reciprocal of 3 or the inverse of 3. So what times 3 gives me 1?
The inverse of 3.
Yeah, which is what? What's the inverse of 3?
3 and then negative
1 over 3.
1 over 3. Okay? Because 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay? What is the inverse of 5?
1 over 5.
Say it again.
1 over 5.
1 over 5.
1.
Good. So the inverse or the reciprocal is whatever I multiply by it gives me 1. Okay? So that's the idea with the inverse. So the inverse of a function is if I multiply a function by its inverse, I must get 1. Okay? That's the idea. Okay? So that's what we mean. So recall that. So a function multiplied by its inverse is what? So multiplicative inverses, we can multiply together and we're going to get 1. Okay? So same thing with inverse of a matrix, inverse, like inverse of anything. Like once we talk about the inverse and its function multiplied by each other is going to give you 1. So this is the same thing I was telling you. With find the inverse, you rewrite f of x as y, you swap x and y, and you solve for y to get the inverse. Okay. Now let's test it. So this is going to be symbolized. So I want to test our two function. And because remember we said a function and its inverse is 1, right? So our first function was 7 minus x, right? What was the inverse? What was the inverse we saw?
y is equal to 7 minus x.
Negative x plus 7, right? Remember, this is the function that we are given. Remember, f is the function that we are given. 7 minus x. And the inverse is negative x plus 7. And so when we multiply them together, we should get 1. But we get 7 minus x squared. And that's where I have a problem. So the function times its inverse should give us 1. Okay, what did we do wrong? We said y, do that. We send that over x minus 7. We send that over, that becomes x minus 7. Yeah, I don't know why it's not giving us 1. Because the function times its inverse should give us 1. Unless this is supposed to be that. Let's see. No, still not working. Okay, let's come back to that question then. But a function times its inverse should give us 1. Let me see.
Look at the steps to see what we do wrong.
No, we did it. We did it right. Step 1, step 2, step 3. I just looking at the steps to see. Okay, let's check these two. So this is a function 2x minus 6, right? So that's 2x minus 6. And the inverse is x minus x divided by 3. Sorry, x divided by 2 plus 3. So x divided by 2 plus 3. When you multiply them together, can give us 1. Okay, 2x minus 6. X over 2 plus 3. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, alright. I see. Okay, so I think, okay, what has happened is I'm getting mixed up with the inverse of a matrix and the inverse of regular numbers. So, yeah, but we're right. We're right, right? I don't think this is true. I don't think that a function times its inverse is 1. I have to check that idea because when I multiply the 2, I don't get 1. So let me check that over. But our steps were right in what we did, and we did get the inverse. It's just that I don't think my idea with the function is inverse is 1. So I can check that. Alright. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, so okay, so let's move on. So this is it's number 4. We did this before. We did number 4 before. Feel like we did number 4. Did we do number 4 before?
Also,
Okay, so let's do number 4. Alright. It's a 4 points. Maya wants to mail a parcel by first class. The cost is 37 cents for the first ounce and 23 cents for every ounce after that. Calculate the cost of mailing a parcel, that weighs 16 ounces. All right. So I'm going to allow you a moment to do this, and let me know what your answers is once you finish. Write it down first, too. Please write it down and try it out on your own. Then we can come and do it together. Oh. All right. Okay, so let's look at it. Before we look at it, right? It's funny. I saw my mistake. Um, the answer I gave you here is correct. The answer I gave you here is correct. But when I said that a function multiplied by its inverse is 1, that's incorrect, right? That's only true for numbers. So a number multiplied by its reciprocal or by its inverse will give you 1. That's for numbers. But when it comes to functions, it's not true. For functions, right? For functions, if you have a function and its inverse, f composed of its inverse is going to equal to x. All right, that's the rule. All right, then that's that way you know it's the inverse. If f composed its inverse is x, and if its inverse composed of x is x, then it's the inverse. So this is not true. All right, that's why when we try to multiply these two, we didn't get 1 because this is not true. But it's true that if we take the inverse, so if we take the function and put it within its inverse, we'll get x. And if we take the inverse and put it inside the function, we'll get x again. Okay, so my apologies for that. So this is correct. Our steps are right. But a function times its inverse is not 1. That's only true for numbers. Okay, so is that clear?
Yes.
You sure?
I mean, I'll try to keep it in mind.
Okay, all right. Yeah. All right, but I mean, for you all, the only thing that you need to know really is how to find the inverse. You don't have to check for the inverse afterwards, okay? But if you had to check for the inverse to know for sure that that's the right inverse, then you'll have to do f composed of its inverse and see if it's equal to x, which is sometimes not an easy thing to do. Sometimes. Anyway, Maya wants to email a parcel by first class. The cost is 37 cents for the first ounce and 23 cents for every ounce after that. Calculate the cost of mailing a parcel that weighs 16 ounces. What's the cost? Anyone figured it out?
$3. Wait, you want me to answer or you want your
You can answer.
okay. $3. I got $3.82.
$3.82. Anyone else?
Mr. Madi,
Yes, sir.
that's a BGC question or what?
It is.
Oh,
It's paper 2, question 4. So, but what did you all get when you did it? Auntie said she got $3.80. 80 what? 7 or 82?
82.
82. Okay, so let's break this down. So she wants to mail something, and the cost is 37 cents for the first ounce. So she has 16 ounces, right? She has 16 ounces. And we can break up 16 ounces into these two. We can break it up into 15 ounces, right? Plus 1. Is that true?
Yes.
All right, 15 ounces plus 1. Let's do 1 plus 15 instead of 15 plus 1. So we could break 16 into 1 plus 15, right? So we could break it apart as, right? 1 plus 15. Okay. Now, Maya wants to mail a parcel by first class. The cost is 37 cents for the first ounce. So for the first ounce, this one is going to cost how much for the first ounce?
23 cents.
No, 37 cents.
37.
Yeah, 37 cents for the first ounce. Okay. And then how much ounces she have after that?
15 more.
15 more. Okay. And how much is gonna cost us for these 15?
23 cents.
23 cents each, right? So it's gonna be for these 15. How are we gonna figure it out?
15 multiplied 0.23 cents.
Very good. 15 multiplied by 0.23. And that equals to
$3.45.
$3.45. Okay. So 15 multiplied by 0.23 is $3.45.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And this is 37 cents. So altogether, right? So altogether, we have to add them, right? We have to add them. So the cost of mailing a parcel that weighs 16 ounces is going to be 0.37 plus $3.45. So it's going to be 0.37 plus $3.45.
382.
Okay, so if we add that, that's going to be $3.82. All right, and so that's how we do that. We have to take into account the first ounce, which is a separate price than the rest of them. All right, and then we're going to add the rest. Okay, so write that down, please, and send the notes to me, please. Okay, so can I move on? The next question? Okay, good. Okay, so the next question is dealing with a cylinder, and I think we gotta do volume for this one. So let's look at this. Whoa, massive 5 points. 5 points for what? Okay, interesting. I wonder why this is for 5 points. 5 points. 5 points. Why? Okay, so we have to really see why this is for 5 points right now. Alright, the diagram shows a celio that consists of a cylinder topped by a hemisphere. The height of the cylinder is 7.5 meters and diameter is 4.2. The maximum volume, using pi as 22/7, calculate the maximum volume of the silo, ignoring the thickness of the material used to make the silo. Okay. Alright. I understand why. I mean, I don't know why they trying to make this thing whole 5 points, but anyway. What we need to do is we need to find the volume of this, right? Now, it is a compound shape, really, right? It's made up of two three-dimensional objects. Can anyone tell me?
Yeah.
Say it again.
A cylinder and a sphere.
A cylinder and a sphere. So this shape right there is made up of two objects. The first one is a cylinder. Okay, so we have a nice cylinder here. The first is a cylinder. Okay. The first is a cylinder. Right? So this is a cylinder. Cylinder. And the second one is a sphere. But not really a sphere, right? I mean, it is a sphere, right? But it's half of a sphere. Okay. So the next one is a sphere cut into two, right? So that's the oopsies, that's drawn horribly. So we have these two shapes there, and we need to find the volume of the entire shape. Okay. So any ideas as to how we're gonna find the volume of the entire shape? Any ideas? Come on, people. Hello. Anyone home?
We have to work them out separate
Yeah. The record of separate and then do what afterwards?
and add them up.
And add them, yeah. Good. So we're gonna first find the volume of the cylinder, and then we're gonna find out the volume of half of the sphere, and then add them. Okay. So that's basically the idea with this. So let's do it. So volume of cylinder.
I finished, Miss Petit.
All right, no problem. Finish up.
I got it.
Got it. Good.
Hold on, Spade.
No problem.
I have it.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we need to find the volume of the cylinder. So volume of cylinder equals. So we need to figure out what is the formula for the volume of a cylinder. And we're going to use that to figure out what's the volume, placing in our values, the values that we have. Remember that the volume is always the volume of a thing, right? Is always cross-sectional area times height. And we said that here a lot of times. So the volume of the volume of, we call them, I'm trying to remember the general term that we call them. Let me see if we could find it on this paper itself. Okay, what we call them? Volume of, do we have it on this paper?
But see, they got the formulas on the BJC one too.
No, of course not.
I thought this was the BJC paper.
There we go. Yeah, volume of a prism. Okay, volume of prisms is gonna be cross-sectional area times height or length. Okay, so this is talking about volume of surface. Volume, yeah. So volume is area of the cross-section times the height or length. So every time you have a prism, yeah. So every time you have a prism, right there. So we see prism. And here they give you the area of a cylinder anyway, right? That's pi r squared times h. That's the same thing, cross-sectional area times height. Okay, so what I mean is, look, so here we have this cylinder here, right? It's going to be equal to the area, because look, the formula says pi r squared, right? Pi r squared that's the area of a circle, right? So what we basically do is we take the area of our circle for our cylinder. We take the area of our circle, right? This area, we multiply it by the height, right? This perpendicular length, right? So it's going to be area of this surface, right? Pi r squared multiplied by the height, okay? So area of a cylinder is, sorry, volume of a cylinder rather, is going to be equal to pi r squared multiplied by the height. So we need to find pi, Greek letters. So pi going to be equal to pi r squared. What is r, by the way?
Radius.
Radius.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the volume of a cylinder. It's going to be equal to pi r squared multiplied by the height. Now remember that pi, let me put this on the side, yeah, so that we didn't get confused. So this is volume of a cylinder. Let's put this on this side, and let's put this on this side. So remember that, put this on this side. So remember that pi in this question, what did we say that pi is equal to?
22/7.
22 over 7. That's what they told us pi is equal to. 22 over 7. Okay. Uh, pi is equal to 22 over 7. What did we say that r is equal to? The radius, right? And in our case, what is the radius equal to?
2.1.
Say it again.
2.1.
So, wait, sorry, let me allow this person to come in. Okay, Nathan called in. Okay, so the radius is going to be equal to half the diameter, right? So the radius is going to be equal to half the diameter of this circle. So the diameter is going to be 4.2, but the radius is going to be half of 4.2. Okay, so the radius is going to be equal to
2.1.
what is the,
Wait, you would explain how you get a radius again?
because this is the diameter, 4.2 is the diameter of the circle, and so, and we know it's a circle because it's the bottom of this, it's the bottom of the cylinder, which is a circle. So 4.2 is the diameter. So they tell you it's the diameter of this circle, but we want the radius, and the radius is half of the diameter. So it's gonna be 4.2 divided by 2. Understand that?
Okay.
So 4.2 divided by 2 is gonna be equal to, it means the division sign. 4.2 divided by 2. And when we divide that, what we get?
2.1.
What you said?
Yeah, 2.1.
2.1. That's correct. Now we gotta be careful. This is in what? This is in meters. So let's keep our meters there. So m and m. So we know what the radius is, and we know what pi is. So let's do the substitution. Okay, so it's gonna be equal to, oh, what is the height? H.
10.5.
Say again. So h is gonna be equal to
17.5.
17.5. Yeah, 17.5. 17.5 meters. So h is gonna be equal to 17.5 meters. All right. So again, pi is, we're gonna replace that with 22 over 7. R squared is going to be 2.1 squared.
Maybe dismiss for a minute, please.
Yeah, no problem. 1 minute, 60 seconds. All Right, Lionel?
You put a timer on it, you really serious?
60 seconds. All right, and then the height is going to be what?
25.
17.5 meters. Good, and then so we're going to multiply that all out. So when we multiply it, this is going to be 22 over 7.
I'm back.
All right. That was quick. 2.1 squared to the power of 2. And what else? Someone help me.
17.5.
17.5.
17.5. What do you all get when you all multiply that? What do you all get when you all multiply that?
Yes, 242.55.
Say it again.
Yes, 242.55.
242.5.
Yeah, 242.55.
242.
So yeah.
Okay. All right, so we get 242.55. And it's going to be what? Meters? What?
Squared.
And
Meters
Meters
what?
cube.
Meters cube. Why meters cube?
Is because you multiply it 3 times. The
Yeah.
22 over 7, 2.1 times 17.5.
but I'm pi into no meter, so
The reason
how
why...
Bgcse?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Nancy.
No, I just asking a question.
Remember M...
I was.
Go ahead.
I said I wasn't paying attention. And I'm gonna ask, how did you get M3?
How I got
The
M to the third
three.
power? Very good
Yes.
question. Notice that this is 2.1 meters what?
Squared.
Squared. So this is squared, and this is M. So if you have square
Oh,
and M,
Oh, all right. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
because I was lost for a moment.
Oh yeah, Mr. BT, I have a question, right?
Go ahead.
Instead of like you doing volume of cylinder, can you do like VOC?
VOC, what is that?
It's like a short word for volume of cylinder. Or that's a no.
Oh, I write the whole thing because always because I'm teaching, so I can't use abbreviations. And when I teach by example. So that means that this is how I want you to set it up when you do it, right? So that it could be clear to the examiners. Now you know what VOC means to you, but um, be clear, right? So write the entire thing, right? Okay. So this is 242.55 meters cubed. That's the volume of the cylinder. But we're not done. We don't just want the volume of the cylinder. We want the volume of the entire silo. So we already figured what the volume of the cylinder was. Now we need to find out what the volume of this half a sphere is.
Yeah.
All right? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next up is volume of half the sphere. What did they call it in the question?
What's
A hemisphere. I like that. Volume of a hemisphere. So we need to figure what is the volume of half a sphere. So let's see. The volume of a sphere is 4 over 3 times pi r cubed, but the volume of a hemisphere is 1 over 3 times the volume of a sphere, volume of a hemisphere. So it's 2 over 3 times pi r cubed. Again, 2 over 3 times pi r cubed. Okay, so that's the formula we're working with. 2 over 3 times pi r cubed. Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Petit.
Right.
These formulas don't get in front of the people.
I'm gonna see right now. I'm gonna look at the top. So I'm gonna look at the so you have a volume of a sphere, the entire thing, but you do not have the volume of half of it. So that one you have to know. So basically, let me see something. Yeah, it's not gonna be 4 over 3 anymore. It's gonna be 2 over 3 pi r cubed. That's the difference. So the volume of half a sphere. Okay, so here it is of a hemisphere is half of a sphere. To find the volume of a hemisphere, you could find the volume of a sphere and divide it by 2, which is the same as using the formula 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Oh, okay, which makes sense. So all you're doing with this formula, and that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, all you're doing was with the formula that you have, right? So let's go back here. So all you're doing with this formula that they give you in the paper. If this is the volume of the entire sphere, right, the whole thing, the whole ball, and you want half of it, you just need to divide this by 2. Okay? And if you divide it by 2, you'll get 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Or you just can remember that, or you just can remember that the volume of half of a sphere is 2 over 3 pi r cubed. Either way. Now you want me to show you how to divide it, or are you just going to remember the formula?
I divided. I know.
Say it again.
Divided.
I did already
Oh,
while
you
I
did.
was talking.
Okay, yeah. So it's 2 over 3, 2 over 3 pi r cubed. So that's the formula we're going to use for this one.
So 4/3 divided by 2.
Yes. No, not divided by 2. 4 over 3. Wait, 4 over 3. Let's see, divided by. No, divided by 1 over 3. I mean, divided by 1 over 2. That'll be. No. 2 over 3. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. 4 over 3 divided by 2. Yeah. 4 over 3 divided by 2. Yeah. So it's 2. So the formula for volume of half a sphere is going to be 2 over 3 times what? Pi. Pi. My bad. Times pi. R what?
R cubed.
R cubed. Good. Okay, so let's do the math for this one. So we know that pi is what?
22/7.
22 over 7. Very good. And we know that R is what?
2.1.
2.1 meters, right? And so let's multiply all that together. So we need to multiply 2 over 3. 2 over 3 multiplied by 2 over 7 multiplied by 2.1 to the power of 3. Right? Right? Hello? Anyone home?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Y'all sure y'all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you get?
I got 9.24.
9.24. 9.24. You got
Oh, I squared.
you
Squared
squared.
mine. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
19.404 meters what? Meters what?
To the cube.
Meters cube.
Third.
Yeah, meters cube. Meters to the third power. Good. So, any questions on how we figured out the volume of the hemisphere?
So, it's gonna say we can add these, right?
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna add them. So you figured out the volume of the cylinder We figured out the volume of the hemisphere. Now we need to figure out what is the volume of the silo.
Yeah, general science and health science tomorrow.
No, that's tomorrow. You like general science and health science?
I mean, they kind of easy, so.
Okay, that's good. I see no notes from you tonight, Miss Sanders. Why?
I did not have the. I keep forgetting to get your number in my phone.
Okay. I need to see something before the night out. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so the maximum volume of the silo is gonna be the volume of the cylinder, right, plus the volume of the hemisphere, which is going to be equal to what?
261.954 M.
I could barely hear you, Nancy.
261.954 M to the cube.
Very good.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, like when cube, you can use the cubes alone. Like add the squares, right? Like 2.1 square to the 17.5 m. That made it a cube. So when you already have the cubes, you don't do nothing with them. You just leave them like that.
No, okay, so that's a very good question. Here we was multiplying them, right? So because we was multiplying them, when you multiply, when you're multiplying terms with the same base, you add the powers, right? So this is to the power of 2, this is to the power of 1, so end up being to the power of 3. See what I'm saying? But
Okay.
when you are adding them, so here we're not multiplying them, we're adding them, then they stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on this before we move on?
What's the written version of it? Like the
Say it again.
handwritten version of this? The handwritten version of this, the volume of cylinder. I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to do the working for this.
You mean to multiply this?
Yeah.
Okay. What you would do, you would take 2.1, multiply it by itself. So multiply this twice, right? Then that'll give you a number. Then whatever that number is, you're going to multiply it by 17.5. Then you get another number. Then you have to multiply that by 22 over 7. Then you'll get this. Okay?
Thank you.
You know, it's not hard. It's just regular multiplication. It's just that by now I think that you all could multiply, so we don't have to do that. And plus, it's gonna take a while to multiply these, so it don't make no sense me multiplying them by hand. But that's a good
So
exercise.
question,
Go ahead.
so question like this can be on our exam.
Not for BJC, of course. This is it's coming from a Bgcse paper, paper 3.
Oh,
You see this paper 3, Miss Cooper, and you see how easy that question was.
which one?
This one we just did.
Totally.
Totally easy, eh? And they get to use calculator.
Right?
I'm surprised Nancy ain't seen that yet.
She died of saying that.
She tired. Nancy, you tired last night.
Calculator don't do nothing for them.
She probably taking it now. She probably taking it now.
True. Pardon me?
No, we're just saying how difficult this question is to do because very hard. Requires a lot
If
of
only I had the energy to debate. I don't have it. I'm glad I'm ready to debate with y'all. Y'all win tonight. Take it and run.
we win. Let's go where we win.
I'll take it.
Exactly. All right. All right. All right. So let's go. Let's go back to our questions here. So the next question they asked is for the total surface area. That's another 5 points. Wow. Wow. Anyway, let's go back to our more familiar questions. Should be easier. Simple interest. Yeah. Who doesn't love simple interest?
Easier to remember, yeah.
Yeah, simple interest, right? Okay, so everybody should be able to do this. So try it on your own, and then let me know what you get. How much interest is charged?
Is it 900?
900? You got 900? Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
I agree. I got the same thing.
900.
Wow.
All right, now. What's 9? Look like you got some skill there.
I agree with him.
I always pass in that.
All right.
I agree with him.
Nancy says she agree. So you might as well get it at the bank.
It's over.
Cash it. All right. Okay. So let's tackle this hard BJC question, which we have to do by hand. We have to sweat. We have to do sweat and blood to get this one. Right, Miss Cooper?
Yeah, totally.
Look how much writing we have to do. Look at all this writing.
Oh my goodness, my hand hurting already.
I know, right? Wow. All right, so P is 5,000. That's the principal. Um,
I just need to know how much is 9% of 5,000?
say it again. No, for the,
How much
not
is 9?
in order to do this, we have to use the formula. So the formula for simple interest is PRT divided by 100. Now P is 5,000. R is the interest rate, which is what? What's the interest rate?
9.
9.
9.
Yeah, 9. And what is T? What is T?
Yeah.
T
See,
is
it's
what?
time.
T is time. Time in years. What is time in years? So it's 2 years, right? So now we're left with PRT, which is 5,000 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 2 divided by 100. What we're going to do here is that we're going to cancel out our zeros, which is the same thing as dividing by 100. The same thing as dividing by 10 twice. And so we are left with 50 times 9 times 2 over 1. Now what is 50 times 9 times 2?
900.
Say it again.
900.
Yeah, 900, because that's basically 100 times 9. Okay, I'm going to shut off for a moment because of internet issues. Give me one moment as I rejoin. Okay? Hello?
Mr. D.
Is
Yes.
it to you guys?
Anytime you do,
Hello?
Yes, you can hear me?
that's all.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Anytime we do simple interest, we must do it in yes. The time must be in yes, right?
Time must be in yes, yeah.
Okay.
Time always in yes.
Don't take it off.
If they say 6 months, then you have to do half a year. All right, so time always is in yes, okay?
You'd have freeze for a bit too.
Yeah,
But
I said that I was gonna be paused for a moment, and then while I was saying that, I guess that's when the thing.
oh, you already put the 900 on my screen for you.
No, I haven't put 900 yet.
Okay.
So the interest charge is $900. Anyone else? Anyone? Everyone good? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so oh wow, we're getting closer and closer to English time. You know what English time means, right?
Essays.
We're gonna read them essays, boy. I wonder who essay gonna use. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
Alright. The amount he must repay to the bank. So calculate the amount that he must repay to the bank. We know that he have $900 interest and principal of $5,000. So how much must he repay to the bank?
Okay, so he carries like
You must pay the principal plus the interest.
Yes. So he must pay the principal plus the interest. So the idea here is that he borrowed some money from the bank, and what happened is that they charge him interest. So the interest after 2 years is $900. So he must not only pay for the amount that he borrowed, right? But he must also pay for the interest that was accumulated. So the total amount that he must repay to the bank is gonna be what?
1,900.
5,000.
5,900.
10,900.
And that's gonna be 5,900. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
That's a lot.
It's a lot that they have to repay.
Yes.
Where you find all the money?
He better find the money.
Exactly.
What does interest mean? Like, why does he have to pay that? What does that mean?
Let's see, why does he have to pay? Okay, it's okay, it's the okay. Interest is the leverage, right? That or it is the charge. I think I could use the word charge. I think that's the proper word to use. It is the charge. I want to use something more better than charge, even though it is a charge, right? We know it's a charge, but it is the it is the benefit that the bank has because it's lending you the money, right? What I mean is that okay, like say for example, you come to me and you say, okay, lend me $5, right? And I say, okay, when I can get this $5 back? You say you get this $5 back next week, Tuesday, right? Now, because I am the lender, I get to say on what terms I'm gonna lend you the money on. You understand that, Miss Correctly?
Wow. Okay.
So now I could say you just gotta pay me back the $5. You understand what I'm saying? But you know, I am the lender, so I get to do whatever I want. So I say, you know what? Next week, instead of just paying me $5, you gotta pay me $10. Now,
I,
say it again.
I also have like a summary of what interest is.
I understand. You don't have to read it though. Um, but that's
No, I didn't have to read
okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah. But That's what it is. Interest is not. Interest is just something that they charge by virtue of them being the lender, and they have to make money some way. So since they lending you the money, um, they also want to make money some way. So they charge you for the
So
money.
like
Go ahead.
so gas go on, like so the amount will accumulate over the years, like if you don't pay. So
Yes,
then
yes, yeah, the yeah,
that's why people be in debt.
yes, people must be in debt. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's the thing.
The bidet, you still in that?
If I still in debt,
Fully.
debt for what?
Have you been in higher education?
I'm in debt. That was
Fully.
fully. I'm in
Oh,
debt.
you get plenty money.
No,
Okay.
no, 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 no. But thank God I got scholarship, else I would be in debt. But yeah,
No, because most of the stories I hear with people who go out to school, they come back with that because
yeah,
they ain't paid in full.
yeah, they ain't paying in full. Yeah, that's why it's good to get a scholarship. If you get a scholarship, hopefully they pay everything. My scholarship paid everything, including books. So it was a full ride. All I had to do was
And
study.
I disagree with you with something you say, but I ain't say nothing.
Yeah, I disagree too.
You disagree with what?
You said the lender of all the rights. I ain't true. Because if you look at it this way, you
Uh-huh.
was lend the bank money, but the bank have all the say.
That's what I'm saying. So they have they have
No, I say you is lend the bank money,
I
but the bank still have all the say.
understand what you mean, but that lending is not contractual, right? They lend it behind the scenes. Um, yeah, I mean your accounts still say a certain amount, and you could retrieve it at whatever at any given time. So like what I meant to say is that, and I still keep what I'm saying. Like when when someone lends you money, right? They because you are in a because you are the borrower, so you are in a sense the party that needs it. So if you are the party that needs it and they have it, they get to say the terms by which they can lend you the money. And if you don't want to agree to those terms, then find someone else to lend the money. And so they put the interest charges on you. Not because they have to put interest charges, but I mean they the lender, so they saying, you know what, this is what we can do. And of course, obviously they are a corporation, so they need to find some way to make money too. So that's where we have interest.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What happens if you don't pay? Do they have a timeline for you to pay or no?
Yeah, yeah, they have a timeline, right? Um, so if you don't pay, if you do not pay, several things could happen. So if it's a payment, let's say you borrow a money for a house, and you do not pay, then they could repossess the home. They could take the home back. Or if it's a car, they could repossess the car. Or if it's just money that you borrowed from them, then they just carry the court, and all the court can say is pay them back their money, and the court gonna give you uh, a timeline, a strict timeline, or salary deductions, stuff like that. Um,
Salary deductions?
yeah, you owe the people the money.
Or did the cop tell you go to jail
or
because you
or they
could
might or they might send you to jail. But I mean, sending to jail is not of no use because they still need their money. So more than likely they're gonna press you to quickly give the money. Um, I'll probably tell you to pay more on it or whatever, seeing that you owe so much.
wow.
Yeah. So borrowing money from the bank is a serious thing, right? But hey, a lot of
Dude,
people.
I heard a story that when you borrow like 3,000 from the bank, you gotta pay like 10,000 back.
No, man, it ain't that outrageous, man. It depends on the bank and depends on their interest charges. right? So, yeah.
Mr. Petit,
Yes, sir.
we ever got loan before?
No,
Oh.
no. Um, okay, so
Yeah, now we're ready. Now all the smarts off the screen now. Now everything clear.
now everything. Now you ready. It was the first time I
Yes.
heard your voice all night. I was like, is he here or is he not there? All right, so yeah, now it's the time we've all been waiting for. English, right?
Hi, excuse for a second.
Say it again. Oh yes.
Hi,
1 second. 1 second. Um that's only 1 second. Okay, so the last time we were here, I gave you all an essay to write, and from the many, I shouldn't say many, because I'm actually disappointed in some of you. Some of you didn't even write the essay.
I wasn't here. I have an excuse.
Okay, that's an excuse. But some people who were here didn't write the essay, especially my BJC people. Especially my BJC people. A lot of you didn't write the essay. Um, but from BGCSE people, y'all did the essay. I must admit, most of you all did it. Or I should say, a lot of you all did it, so that's good. So I'm gonna take 2 essays, and we're gonna analyze them. I'm not gonna tell you who they are from. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you the names, unless the person who wrote it would want to tell you all. But I'm not gonna say it. And we're gonna look at the essay, and then we're gonna be good people. We're gonna start with the good or bad. Should we start with the good or the bad?
Bad.
Start with the bad. No, you can't start with the bad.
Bad first, then good.
Start with the bad first. Oh wow.
Destructive criticism.
You wanna break the person heart
Yeah.
and then lift them up? Okay, all right.
I mean, you're not really breaking them apart. You're criticizing them so that they can do better.
Okay, love it. I can't wait till your essay comes. Okay, you're right. We're gonna start with the bad and then end off with the good, because every essay has something good in it. All right. Um. So I'm gonna start with the BJC one, and then I'm gonna do the BGCSE one. So this one is the BJC one, and I'm gonna give you the question. And like I said, we're gonna start off with the bad and then the good. So let's do the step by step. So this is their plan. Okay, so
The subject look familiar.
It's petite.
Yes, ma'am.
You could use mine because I want the public criticism, but I don't want them to know that's me. So yeah, you could do it anywhere, but just want them to know that it's me.
Okay, I could use yours, but then let's not let them know it's you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We could tell by the handwriting.
How you can tell by the handwriting? You don't know who write it like this.
She sounds like he's writing cursive. So
You don't know who write like this. Okay, so the question was for the BJC people. The question was, schools should be allowed to host after-school dances as fundraisers. Do you agree or disagree? Provide at least 3 reasons to support your view. Okay. For every view you give, that's a paragraph. So the person start off and says, why I agree. Okay. And so this is their plan, I imagine. So they said why I agree, and they have school supplies, school trips, let's say, for students to show their hidden what?
looks like talent.
Talent, hidden talent.
Like talents.
I have to say something.
Go ahead.
I don't agree with none of
Go ahead.
So that instructing channel kind of sound like JPR instructions.
Yeah, it does, right? Okay, so anything wrong with this plan? So we can start off with the plan. Anything wrong with, start off with the bad, with the plan. Anything wrong with the plan?
Why school supplies?
I
Oh,
mean,
it's a fundraiser. Never mind. Sorry.
First wrong thing they took was that they agreed.
no, I mean, no, we can't, we're not, now when we're talking about, when we're talking about the essay, we're not hitting their argument, right?
Gotta respect their choices.
Respect their choices. The question is, and the same thing when we do, we marking papers. We can't, we're not gonna mark their belief versus our belief, right?
But I mean, some beliefs, whether you like it or not, is just harder to explain them.
That's exactly right, right? So, but if they defend their belief, that's the only thing you really looking for. Like, do they pick a side? That's the first thing, and do they explain it well enough? Okay, so looking at this plan, so this is supposed to be a plan. I would write plan at least on top, right, as the heading. I don't want to mention anything good yet, so I'm just gonna talk about the bad stuff. The plan in my, before I start with mines. So it's missing a heading, so no heading. What else?
What do you mean by heading? Like,
Yeah, like
You like the introduction?
no, she ain't a plan on top here, like. So be clear on what this is, because they did say the student should have a plan. So be clear on saying, okay, this is my plan. Okay, so it's missing a heading. What else is missing?
they lack some details because they have the subtopic, but you need details to support your subtopic.
Very good. So they don't have no supporting details. So they have their main points, right? But they don't have no supporting details to say, hey, this is how I'm going to um develop, right? These ideas. Okay? No supporting details. So that's important. So what they're supposed to have is, like how they have school supplies, they're supposed to have, okay, okay, this is how I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna probably use an example, right? In my supporting detail, I'm probably gonna use a comparison, probably, right? To show something. I'm probably gonna use what else could we use to develop our point? An example, a comparison. I'm probably gonna use a what else could we use to develop our to support what we're saying? Examples, so I use comparisons, so I use
Media.
Why?
I'm talking about specific stuff. Maybe they could use a
Statistics?
statistic is good. I mean, that's if you know it off your head, right?
Oh no, no.
Yeah. Maybe a reflection, like they look at their own life and they look at like a personal story, right? That happened in their life that they could use to develop it. So like what supporting details come? So they need to have at least three supporting details for each. So you not only state your main points, but you must tell me, you must have in your mind, it's very important, how you going to go about supporting this, right? Else, if you don't have that, then you'll write, you will be doing a bunch of stuff. So you need three supporting details, okay? You need three supporting details. Right, so that's what this person is missing. Okay. All right, so that's it with the plan. The plan doesn't need anything more than that. the good thing, they have more good than bad in this plan, to be honest. The good thing that they did. So let me just say how much they need. So need at least. How much supporting details do we need?
3.
Yeah, need at least 3. So need at least 3. How do we say 3 in Spanish?
Tres.
Yes.
French
3.
is trois.
And in French is what?
Trois. Un, deux, trois.
Trois.
Yeah, un, deux, trois.
Say a.
I want to go in French.
Okay, good. So now the good stuff. I love. Anyone can tell me some good stuff.
So like, I think it's straightforward. What we need to do, but like, we need people to help us to bring it out. So just being there and listening to her first of all, and then pointing out key things she said, like,
Yeah,
hey,
I like
this is
that
the solution. You just said it yourself, that kind of thing. Like, if you
it's clear, right? It is clear. It's really clear. Like, I mean, and straightforward. Like, you can clearly see what she is, or what this person. Oh my! I just gave the gender away. But you can clearly
Give the whole gender.
You cannot give the gender away.
No, when I said she, I really meant he. That was a that was
It then. It.
That was
What an outcome,
that was. This is not Nancy, by the way. This is not Nancy, by the way. Okay, it's not Nancy's paper. All right, straightforward. Nancy, this is in your paper, right? Tell the truth and shame the devil.
It's a Bgcse paper. How can it be?
Okay, good. All right. Good. All right. But besides clear and straightforward, because that wasn't the first thing that came into my mind. What I really like is that this person have a position.
They position,
yeah. They pick a side, right? Pick a side, and that's very important. Like, it's clear what direction that they're going in. Why I agree. Boom. Like, you know what I mean?
Maybe they have a good point.
Yeah, they really not even that. I mean, I don't even care about the side that they pick. My thing is that they picked a side, all right, and it's clear what side that they picked, right? And they gave 3 reasons, right? They gave 3 reasons to support what they give 3 main reasons to support their view. Okay, so the person is clearly heading in the right direction, right? And so that's good to support their view, and that's good. That's a good thing that they did this, right? That was, and like someone said, it's very clear, straightforward, neat, and everything. It is kind of neat, and it's
It's legible. We can read it.
It's legible. Give main reasons to support their position, right? So that's important. Okay. All right. So this is a good. It's a good plan. The only thing was missing really was the heading and the heading and the supporting details. So let me show you how your plan should look like. Where do I have that? Do I have it here? Oh, I didn't have it in there. Oh. I'll show you it next class. But your plan should. I'll just show you next class. But this is a good one. This is she used brainstorming, right? This is the method called brainstorming that she used. I like this way, by the way. When you have that, it just appealed to me. The big circles and the 3 things, I like that way. But some people use the listing method. So here she used brainstorming, where you put the circle and you do the lines coming through. But some people just list them out, like how I listed out the good and the bad. Some people just listed out like, okay, first paragraph, boom, 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 second paragraph, boom, 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 third paragraph. I think that should have been included too. Like which paragraph is which, like which one you're gonna start off with. I think that would have been good to say too, like to say, hey, is this the first one? You know, is this the second? Like, I didn't see that. You know what I mean? So that's important. Like, which one is the first paragraph? All right. Usually put your strongest point at the what? So
And oh,
at the beginning or end. That's usually where the strongest point is.
Beginning.
Either one could work.
Either
Doesn't
one.
matter.
It depends on the essay, right? It depends on the essay, and it depends on because you don't want to give a weak point at the beginning, and then so it's like you want to begin strong and end strong, right? You know, and let's be honest, like when the examiner start reading your paper, they're excited. They want to know what is this person about, and and so you don't want to start dry, and you don't want to make your first
I
point.
doubt that.
I wouldn't say I doubt that because by the time we read your paper, we hitting the the mid body paragraph. We already know what grade we're gonna give you by that time. I'm telling you, we already know what grade we're gonna give you. Like you could feel it.
I bet y'all write. I bet y'all read like 2 sentences. Yeah, good 60.
Yeah, good 60. Like you can already feel it.
Mr.
Like
Pete, they had a study that showed that grades progressively got lower the longer the duration of the test. I mean, the evaluations went on. So
what
it
do you,
does depend on their mood too.
yeah, more too. Yeah, more too. More too. Energy
So you
levels.
saying your introduction gotta be on
Yeah,
point?
you better you
Like
better be you better be on point.
grab the reader
Need to know.
attention, right?
Yeah, your introduction.
Need to know.
Your introduction, first body paragraph, make sure they strong. And
Yeah.
make sure they strong. And then make sure how you end strong, right? The middle have to be strong too. But like I said, the best points you have, either for the first and last. The middle you could cruise, but make sure that your first point and your first paragraphs knock in. Make sure that. You know what I mean? Make sure of that. And make sure the way you
So is it
end.
the middle more like the details of the story?
Say it again.
But isn't the middle more like the detail?
Yeah, the middle is
Like
the
when you get in.
details and what's happening inside and stuff like that.
How could the middle be for the details if every paragraph is supporting its own
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, you're right. I mean, what he meant is for the details is okay. It's not as detailed as the introduction or the conclusion. I mean, sorry, the introduction is not as detailed, and the conclusion is not as detailed. So when you say the middle is for the detail, you're talking about the body paragraphs. They have to be more detailed than the the intro and the conclusion. So yeah, I would agree with that. All right. So what you need to do here is also um state which paragraph these gonna be in, right? So state which paragraph your points will be in. And this is because she didn't do this. She did not do that. So that's why it's in the bad.
Come on, Mr. Petit.
Uh-huh.
I hear you using he and she, but how you know it's not either?
What you mean?
How you know it's not they or them?
What you mean? You mean what? This essay?
Yeah, I use like he and she wrote, but how you know it's not they or them?
That's one person I know wrote this.
No, I'm saying you assuming they gender.
I don't assume no agenda. I know who wrote this.
Then who wrote it?
It's anonymous. Alright. Okay. Now if the person wanna say, they could say, but it's anonymous. Alright. Okay, so let's just look at the part. Let's just look at the essay as a whole before we even start reading anything. Let's count the paragraphs. So this is one. So I guess it's supposed to be the introduction. It's supposed to be, I guess, the first body paragraph. That's 2, 3, 4.
It's supposed to be 300 words total, right?
Yeah, 300 in total. I have a problem already. Okay, this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do they write 5 paragraphs?
Yeah, they write 5 paragraphs.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They write 5
I didn't know
paragraphs.
that. Let's see.
Powerful.
Yeah, so there's only 4 paragraphs. So that's a problem.
And they conclude, and they have a conclusion too, with just saying as long.
But I'm saying they only have 4 paragraphs. So I understand. I'm trying to figure out how they managed to get all 3 of these points in. Because all 3 of these points supposed to be a different.
These 3 paragraphs say.
Yeah, a body paragraph. So I'm trying to figure out how did that work. So let's see. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. Yeah, this is 4. Okay, so just looking at it from okay, just looking at it from just looking at it from just a general thing, right? I like that the person indented. That's a good thing. They did do some good indentation now. So that's very good when you are writing. You want to indent to indicate which paragraph you have. That's good. What I see that I immediately don't like though is
See it there. See the
yeah.
conclusion at the bottom of the third one. They didn't indent to sum it up.
Oh, to sum it up.
That's it there.
That's it there. Then maybe okay. So yeah. So then they don't have a clear conclusion then, like a separate paragraph to conclude it. Okay.
I have a few queries about this essay. It's not bad. It's just
Kennedy, did you write an essay?
I did.
Where is
still
it?
finishing it.
You still finishing it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I can let that slide. Go ahead. But make sure I send your essay.
All right.
Good.
Promise.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Go ahead, Kennedy. You was about to say something?
So, in my opinion, right? I think that every essay should have like a strong introduction. And in this essay that I see, it doesn't have like a strong introduction. It doesn't hook me. It just sounds mechanical, like a essay question you can see on Bgcse exams, rather than a regular essay.
Okay. I like that. I like what you're saying.
Well,
Now we just talking about the general structure now. We haven't dived in depth yet to the notice I haven't read anything.
Right? I think the general structure is okay because it indicates you where a paragraph begins and ends.
Yes.
And the structure is there for me.
The structure. The only problem I have with structure is so
the last paragraph for me where she didn't indicate. That's it, but its structure is 100% for me.
My goodness. I move the notes. Oh my goodness, that's terrible.
But then I get that.
Yeah. So general structure. So for general structure, the person did very well. Like, you know, so the good would be that so clear indentation. So we see that. What else do we see? We see that for each paragraph. So that's good.
She showed the reasons in the paragraph.
No, we ain't reading it. We're just talking structure. We ain't reading it per se. Um, uh, Handwriting is good though. I ain't gonna lie. Handwriting is understandable. I would say this is good. It isn't terrible. At least except for the last part when, you know, it started to get slanty. But as a general rule, good handwriting. Yeah, clear indentation. Handwriting is appropriate. I see periods and commas. It looks sensible.
I don't see a lot of scratching and stuff.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of scratching and stuff like that. I don't understand how the person could do this. Like, unless otherwise otherwise they wrote it twice.
Yeah, that's what he's starting to think. Like, just premeditate with it.
Yeah,
Then
I
I
don't
just
know.
start a couple words to get it the right amount of words.
Like, wow, like, yeah, that's a good thing that you mentioned. So not a lot of not a lot of not a lot of
After language, we just have language until 9.
we have language until 9. Yeah, a lot of scratching, and that's how you spell scratching.
S
What? C?
yeah, SCRACHING.
Scratching.
No way, Mr. Petit.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Scratching.
Can't spell it.
I just
Got a 4.0 in 11th grade.
I know.
You did?
Just 3.9, not 4.
That's a high GPA for 11th grade.
Not a lot of
I didn't
scratching.
even make half of that.
That's, yeah. Hey, if you don't use it, you lose it, eh? Not a lot of scratching, and and like I say, the handwriting is nice, very nice and neat. That's good. Generally speaking, that's good. So that's something good to learn from this essay. This is very neat. Yeah, nice print. It's printed. Oh my goodness! Please print. I like that it's print in print. So it's in print. So that's good. Printing is better. It's best, man. Okay, now for the bad, what I see immediately would be it's not 5 paragraphs, and you want it to be 5 paragraphs, so that's important. What I also noticed that really bothers me is there's no transitions, man. Right? No transitions.
I love transitions.
Yeah, no transitions at the beginning of the essays. It's not essays at the beginning of the paragraphs. So if we notice, like for example, like additionally, you know, secondly, stuff like that. Sorry, additionally. Furthermore, you know, moreover, you know, um, secondly, those stuff. I don't see no transitions. If you look at this other person's essay, I really like this because you could see clearly that they have some forethought. So what they have is, I mean, we ain't on this one yet, but they said secondly, thirdly, in conclusion, right? So you can follow it, right? So for this one, there is no transitions at the beginning of these paragraphs. So you don't want to make that mistake. Okay. Okay, that's general structure. Anything else on general structure?
I ain't like like the orientation of your brainstorming is supposed to have like some kind of foreshadowing of what you expect to read in order.
You mean this?
Yeah.
I'm already said that. The first, second, and third, what I said that our points was not. I mean, I already move it, but I said that her like you saying it didn't tell me the sequence of how she's gonna move through the essay. So that's important too. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's general structure. Now let's get into the meat of the matter. The introduction. What child? Whoever wrote this, please, we still love you. But this is gonna be interesting.
Of course, we love you.
Introduction. Mercy. Oh boy. Okay, so let's read it. Kennedy, can you read the introduction for me?
Okay. I agree that schools should be allowed to host after-school classes as a fundraiser for the following reasons. One, to be able to save money in case of in case the school wants to go on a trip. Secondly, to be able to buy school supplies, and lastly, for students to show their talents that they didn't know they had.
Okay. All right, so let's begin with the good. Okay, we can begin with the good. And this
She
essay,
showed the reasons.
yeah, the essay is very, not the essay, the introduction. Okay, I love this introduction for it's not definitely it's not a perfect introduction, right? But it does at least one thing what every introduction should do, and that is it clearly outlines the thesis statement. Like, so what I like about the introduction is that number one, clearly she chose a side, right? Clearly a position was taken, and three clear reasons was given. That's what we call a thesis statement. You have a position and you give your three reasons. That's the best thing about this essay, this introduction. Now, the so that's the good thing. Um, the only problem, well, not the only problem, but the bad thing is that anything else good before we get to the bad?
My class is like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I church Tuesday and Thursday. My schedule booked.
All I heard was 3 days a week.
Say it again.
What you trying to say?
Say it again.
No, I don't see no full stop at the end.
Yeah, big full
We need
stop
to
right there.
I don't see it.
There it is. But we on the good. We on the good.
You saw that in the multiplication?
It's supposed to be a full stop. I like also it's clear though. It's clear and easy to read. Then it's clear and easy to read. Okay, so now let's actually get into the meat of the matter. When
It
you
don't have a hook.
Yes, there's no hook, like no hook, right? It doesn't begin in an interesting way. clearly does not begin in an interesting way. Do not begin, please. Do not begin, please, my people. Please, for goodness sake. Don't begin your essay with I agree. Don't never do that. This person who's Bgcse also did the same thing. I agree. This ain't no JPR. If it was a JPR, you could do that, right? Because JPRs, they don't care, right? But this is language. This is a language exam. You cannot begin with I agree. You just cannot. Because the moment you begin with I agree, that means that you are about to state your thesis. How can you state your thesis if you haven't prepared the reader for your thesis? That's very important. You never begin with I agree. All right? You prepare the reader. You begin with a hook. You begin in an interesting way. You give some background information. Then you give the thesis. Then you can say I agree. All right?
How though? How?
What do you mean
I
how?
see you saying
Like, what would you do alternatively if you was
like
this
like
person?
Go ahead.
like you can't say like you like to make a joke basically.
There's different ways to do it. I mean, okay, let me give you an example
But
now.
that's what you're trying to say though.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like you have to begin with okay, let me see if I can find one of my
Attention grabber.
yeah, attention grabber. Like there's interesting week. So okay. So I guess what's his name? What's his name? It's Mr. What's his name? Mr. Bethel Lee Oxford. An example for this in practice. I gave an example last year. Um from my own work. There's
Yeah, I think I remember that, but I mean, like on a lower scale,
on a low scale.
yeah, where you don't get like your own amount of words to put in the paper.
What you mean? I don't sound
Like just like a generic hook, then like
a
copy
generic.
and paste hook.
No, it's creative. Say say a generic hook. Wow. How you got a generic hook?
I mean, everything else generic. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, we always put that. So generic hook
No,
too.
no, we ain't having no generic. No, like we could give you ideas. Like okay, hooks could be rhetorical questions. They could be quotes. They could be jokes. They could be words from a song. You know what I mean? Um, they could be
So Mr. Did you just asking us to be random at the beginning?
not entirely random though. Like it have to have a connection to what you're saying, right? So okay, like let me just
Like, so should we? So this person should have just quote some lyrics from Vibes Cartel and then start.
no 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 no. Like okay. For example, like, let me just give you some examples of hooks so that you could see what I'm talking about. So I just said it word by words, right? But hooks could
Well,
be
actually, I think that could have worked too. Like, because Vibes Cartel songs are really provocative. That would be good at. And my disagreement of why school shouldn't
oh yeah
allow
yeah yeah
like
yeah, that would be good.
getting them pregnant and things.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's a good one. So yeah, so a hook could be a rhetorical question. You ask a question at the beginning, right? All the examiner want to see is that you at least fundamentally you have the setup in your mind, even though it's not the best hook in the world. But golly, don't start your sentence or your introduction with "I agree." It's like
Hey, hey, question, would you judge
say
a
it again,
writer
say it
from
again.
that? Would you judge a writer from that? But I agree.
Yes, of course. That means that they know
So
they
you
they
trying to say you would like determine you already have a create that you like give this writer.
yeah. I already marked them down for starting with "I agree." That means that they don't understand that they have to prepare the the reader for their thesis. They already entered into thesis. How you can enter into your thesis if you ain't prepare me? So your
So, Mr.
introduction.
Petit,
Go ahead.
would you say it's better to not prepare them or get their hopes up, even if like just to minimize the disappointment? in the whole thing.
No, it's a structure. Like even okay, everything in math. Okay, when we look at math, we have formulas, we have structure. Like let's look at PEMDAS. You always what? Multiply before you add. Like that's just the rule. So you
Oh,
will have
it's the
rules.
rule. Like it's not
Yeah.
a really opinion.
No, it ain't no opinion. Like you can't say I can try and do no. Like, this is the rule. Every introduction in the world, um, generally speaking, will start off this way, unless they are a really good writer and they know what they're doing to break the rules and still get away with it and still do good, right? But at this level, follow the rules. Like I could go right there online and just verbatim, just say how to write a good introduction, right? And watch, we'll see the rules. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if we have something nice. Okay, so that's good. So, a good introduction must first do what? Catch your reader's attention. That's the first thing. Like this is from a random site. The first thing you do, catch your reader's attention, give background information on your topic, then you present your thesis. That's just the rules. Like that's just the steps. You can't skip the steps and then expect to get the right the right you know grade. You know what I mean? So
I think if you do that, like your thesis might end up being a whole story.
you
I
know you
mean, the
could
introduction.
introduction is not gonna be short. It's gonna be short. So you quickly catch your reader attention. You quickly give a little background information. For Bgcse students, you could run on a little bit more. For Bgc, you got to be very short and to the point. Then you say I agree or disagree, and you state why. Okay, so that's the thing. So your hook could be, like I say, it could be a rhetorical question. It could be a quote. It can be a words from a song. It could be a joke. It can be a strange, ironic, or contradictory thought or statement. Right? What I mean is that you can start off with um, you can start off with a a statement that is surprising or that is strange or that is puzzling, right? And then unravel it in your essay. Like you could shatter a norm, like like how people say, um, the general norm is that money don't makes you happy. That's the general norm. So you could maybe start off and say, um, money does make you happy, and then the reader then perk up. They'll be like, okay, what do you mean money makes you happy? Like that'll like to me reading that, I'll be like, what? What do you mean money makes you happy? And then you will break it down and somehow connect it to what you're writing somehow. But you begin with a shattering thought that piques the reader attention. You know what I mean? And connect it to what you're writing. You could also begin with a dialogue, right? So that means like you could begin with did I spell that right? Dialogue. Okay. That means like you could begin with a conversation between two people. Um, in that case you could use Bahamian language. I mean, so you could use Bahamian dialect if you want to, right? Um, so you could begin with a dialogue. You could begin with um basically anything creative. Let me see if I can think of anything. Rhetorical question, quote, first one, a song, joke, strange or ironic thought or statement, a dialogue. You could begin with statistics. It depends on if it's formal, right? Begin with statistics and facts.
Mr. Petit,
Yes,
so
sir.
you're saying these are the norm?
Yeah,
Like
these are generic. Like you know, these are if you want like these are
so based off this, you could argue that not putting any of these is outside of the norm.
it's outside of the norm. Yes, that's why it's just starting off with I agree is strange. It's Wrong.
So that could be a hook in its own way then.
How is a hook? How is this a hook? I agree that school should. This is thesis. Because thesis has position and 3 points. This ain't no hook. Alright.
Okay, last thing on this. Could you ever put the hook behind the thesis?
You couldn't get it wrong. That's what you could get. You could do whatever you want to do. Right? But if you
Yeah,
don't
and
get it,
you just said earlier, like some people get away with breaking the rules.
they could get away, but they are expert writers, man. They could get away with murder, with anything, right? Because they hard. You know what I mean? What I mean is when they finish do that, you would yeah, you wouldn't know what hit you. Right? That's how good they are, right? But with
Well,
us,
who was they? Who was they?
they are people who are experts, man. Who like say someone who are like novelists do it all the time. People who haven't.
What particular novelist you talking about?
I just talking about people who are good. I don't know no one in particular in mind. Like people who are really good, they could break rules and still do well because is like the way how they write is like it it is so good that even when they break a rule or quote unquote rule, it still ties everything together and and um and it's still beautiful and amazing. So they could get away with that. But us normal people who just learning these stuff, we have to go. They call it taking a risk and stuff like that. But for us, we have to be very methodical and everything like that, especially for in exam conditions. You know what I mean? Follow the rules. Okay, yeah, that's very important. Please begin in an interesting way. The second thing is that after you begin an interesting way, you must give some background information. Now they say background information. Um, but what I basically mean is, it don't even have to be background information per se. It just basically you have to explain it a little, like find some way to tie in your hook with your thesis. That's basically what you're trying to do. Tying. So there's an interim. So you state your hook. Then there's an interim where you try to tie your hook with your essay. We call that's the part where they talk about giving some background information. All you're doing is you're trying to tie your hook with your thesis, and then finally you present your thesis. So you're tying the hook. Did I spell this right? So we're tying the hook with the thesis. That's what you're trying to do. And then finally, you have to state the thesis. All right, so she didn't give no hook, and she didn't give no background information. And I mean, she did say the thesis, but that was at the end. Okay. All right, so that's what's really bad about this introduction. Okay, so be careful with that. Anything else? Oh, the grammar in this introduction needs help, right? Um, so let's continue with the grammar with this. So besides the no hook and everything, right? Um, you know what I realized? You realize that the vocabulary in this introduction is very simple.
Nerves.
It's too simple. Um, it's too simple, man. Try to be more sophisticated with your wording, right? Um, I agree that schools should be allowed to host after school dances fundraiser for the following reasons. 1. Okay, so the vocabulary is too simple. Remember, remember our remember our essays that we read before. That's why I allowed y'all to read these essays before. Because let's just take one sentence from this thing, right? It says, it had long been thought that the adult brain was incapable, big vocabulary word there, it was incapable of spawning new neurons, that while learning caused synapses to arrange themselves and new links between brain cells to form, the basic anatomical structure was more or less static. You see that? Does that sound like...
But that's about science.
Okay, no problem. That's about science. Let's move on to the next one. Since that's about science, let's go to the next essay.
And that's brain science.
Let's go to the next essay. What is this? This one is you shouldn't trust internet comments. Okay. This one is still kind of scientific article-ish, and you might say that okay, it is too sciencey. So let's go to... Okay, good. I love this. Oh, I love this one. Okay, good. So okay, so we read this one before, right? So listen to this. This isn't even no sciencey, right? Listen to this. Listen to this little reading, right? It says, then let every woman become so cultivated. Look at their words. Then let every woman become so cultivated and refined in intellect that her taste and judgment will be respected. So benevolent in feeling and action that her motives will be reverenced. So unassuming and unambitious that collision and competition will be banished. So gentle and easy to be entreated as that every heart will repose in her presence. So look at these big vocabulary words: cultivated, refined, intellect, benevolent, reverence, unassuming.
Sound like they just reading you an encyclopedia.
Right? I mean, but it makes sense and it brings everything together. This is what I expect, right? Not I, the, has, is, can, become. No, man. Right?
Okay, Mr. Petit, I get what you're saying, but in this writer's defense, and essays you read before, the difference between the writer, okay, this writer and the next writer, this person is an adult. He or she had like years of experience. And the writer we have now is still a student. I get what you mean, though.
I accept your defense. I accept your defense. But my job as a teacher is to show you the ideal, to show you where you have to reach. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm showing you
English so technical. No. So technical.
Mr. Petit, I think we should start to put a little haste on the subject because we ain't got much time.
No, we ain't trying to finish the whole thing tonight now. You ain't imagine we trying to finish the whole thing. We ain't trying to finish the whole thing. I'm just going step by step showing you what could be done. So my goal is never to finish this essay tonight. Because then there's so much things that needs to be teased out of this. So next class, of course, we're gonna finish. I don't even know if we're gonna finish analyzing this one, but we'll see how far we get. But beginning with introduction, the vocabulary is too simple, right?
Mr. Petit, after you don't throw them under the bus, shake them off, dust them, bring them to the back, and then put them back in the front. You think they'll come back to class?
Say it again. After I ready. Oh.
After you refine their essays, will they be confident enough to write their own?
I thought this was the question. I think that's the question.
No, that was my. I said, Mr. Petit, after you drag them to the dirt, run them to the bus, drag it up, shake them off in the road, throw them in the ocean, and then bring them back. You think they'll come back to class?
I said I was fair. I give the good, right?
I was scared of what you might send me on my essay.
I give the good. I make sure, you
Because
know,
mine's ain't even here, but I done jumble in.
I make sure I tell them what they did good so they wouldn't feel like I'm biased, you know. But if something bad, I gotta say it's bad. If it's
Well, I
good,
agree with you. It only makes him better, but
yeah.
they
Come
gotta be
on.
strong to come back.
Yeah, they
I
gotta be
hope this
strong.
person. I hope this person takes skin. Gee,
Boy, come
because
on.
Kennedy showing shade. Everyone showing shade.
Kennedy. Kennedy. Oh my goodness. But y'all don't know who this is.
Whoever essay this is, I am your friend. Okay.
Mr. Petit, I didn't really see nothing grossly wrong except
Yeah.
they don't have much of a foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I say, granted, um, this isn't too bad of an essay at all. You know, it's just that I'm comparing it to a standard. You know what I mean? And so, in order to help you reach further, you know, I gotta critique it, um, you know, in such a way.
This person sounds so. This person
Yes, sir.
sounds so familiar.
How would you grade this essay? Do
How
you
would I
ready for
grade it?
grade? Yeah,
If
do
I,
you ready for grade for this essay?
I'll grade it. Okay, this is what I want to grade. I'll grade the the plan and I'll grade the introduction. Um, so the vocabulary is too simple. They need to use sophisticated language. And what else is missing in this? Yeah, I didn't like the vocabulary at all. Oh, the grammar is poor. Let's look at the grammar, right? Um, I agree that schools should be allowed those after-school dances as fundraisers for the following reasons. One, that ain't you don't say it like that. Like it sound like you're talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, model
Yeah,
firstly, secondly,
not no,
thirdly.
you wouldn't even use firstly or secondly, right? You would say the reasons why, or you'd say the reasons why I agree is the following, and then you start listing. But you don't say one, and then you say secondly, and then lastly. No, like
Use transitioning words.
no, they shouldn't even use transitional words right here. I don't think that, because especially with
The
this
first
one here,
part that's
it
supposed to be
sounds
like
weird.
big, like it's supposed to make me wonder.
It sounds too it sounds too formal, like they talking. You know what I mean? So I would
The
So you
say,
want
potatoes
to
talk like that though.
like, I agree that school should be allowed those afternoon dances as fundraisers for the following reasons. One,
If they were talking, they would have said because.
that's even better than saying one. Like that sound. I wouldn't put this here. No, you wouldn't put that there. I agree that the school should be allowed those afternoon dances as fundraisers for the following reasons.
But can you even like use firstly or secondly? Because like I didn't say that was too basic. Like when you
But at least you have a transition. At least then they have none.
Guess what? Guess what?
Um, for the following reasons, to be able, or I prefer to say, um, the reasons why I agree that after school dances should be used as fundraisers um are the following, and then you just start a list. You don't say one. Like no, that ain't good. Anyway, I agree that school should be allowed those after school dances fundraisers for the following reasons. I see why the way how they construct that. They need to change this. Change the way how this is read. It don't sound feel like it could be improved a little bit.
I think
Change the way how it's read.
I hope like
It's a potato. This don't seem like they rate like they do this. As they was thinking about it, it's like they compile things from what they already written and then like make it together like that.
No, I don't think that's what they did. I don't sense that.
that's what I used to do sometimes, and myself is still and I'm sorry.
I think the person was just so focused on trying to explain
Yes. Yes, I think so
That's what
too.
I think. I think like
Not
their
really
main
fun and
focus
making
was. I think
Definitely.
their main focus was like trying to make the point valid,
Yeah,
and also try to give a clear understanding of what she's saying. She wasn't
yeah,
focused on like grabbing everyone's attention. She just was like focused
yeah.
on
On
pointing how to, like
yeah,
stick to the reason basically.
yeah.
She wasn't trying to be risky.
Yes, I agree. I
So,
agree.
That's
Mr.
why.
Petit
Uh,
and Nancy, y'all trying to say they was just going down a checklist of things to do.
yeah. I think.
Basically.
See,
I think they're just focusing
Yeah.
on trying to give their reason, state their position, give their reason, explain why they come to that conclusion, and not necessarily try to be creative with it. You know what I mean?
I can't blame the person.
She was trying to. She was trying to stay based on it, based on that. It's like she was trying to stay relevant and not trying to. She didn't
What
want
state?
like a lot of. She didn't want over, but okay. Basically, when I read it, I think about trying to stay safe and not like risking, not
Yeah,
like open with something to grab his
trying to
attention.
yeah,
Trying
overdress
to
the
make them
essay.
guess. Like she ain't trying to
yeah,
make no one guess what she wants to say. She just
yeah,
telling you directly what she
yeah,
want to say.
yeah. I agree. I agree. And that could be a problem. So they don't take risks. So no risk taken, right? Which is important.
Especially in exams.
So I mean, you want to be. It's too linear, like but you want to have some
Ambitious.
creativity to it, right? Um, to be able to save money in case the school wants to go on a trip. Secondly, to be able to buy school supplies and also for students to show their talents that they didn't know, that they didn't even know they had. Period. The period is not clear, so um, I think she could make that period clearer so we can know. But again, I probably I'm writing so fast, so um, so make
Right fast and the handwriting like that.
clearer. I agree that schools should be allowed to. The beginning of the introduction just sounds awkward. Yeah, I just thought it was awkward. So I would fix that.
Yeah, it's different because she gone straight into it. She dived right in.
Okay, so for the plan, let's start grading it now. For the plan,
How much out of?
I would put it out of 10.
Okay, all right.
Putting a plan on the 10?
Maybe
70.
solid
A 7.
7. Yeah, 7.
7?
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.
No, man.
So that's it, man. You giving it
Because of the reason.
A B.
a piece in a
I give
7.
it 7. Notice
You
that
want
we're missing
Details.
a lot, we're missing the heading.
I'll give it a 4.
Wow.
What
Four.
F?
Think about
I made it up 4 points. Like, you can literally see 4 points. Like, you got mark with more than what on the page.
I do. Okay.
That's very much cool.
I'll
And y'all say I bought.
I
Yeah,
say a
but-
7 or 7.
I'll give her
7 is too high.
Yeah,
I'll give her
Six, 6, no, 5.5.
I'll give her
Five's the same.
I'll give
No,
her
it's not. It's a 55.
5.5, 6 on the
5
plan.
6, I would say. It's definitely a pass.
Yeah, it is because she
That's the
she's got
50%
talent.
is fast, right?
Yeah, I would say 6 out
On
of
a
10.
Yeah,
nice
6 out of 10. I'll give her 6 out of 10 because
Yeah.
the only thing she missing is the supporting. But I guess as you write, you start
Yeah.
thinking to come to you. So
Say a bit
Yeah.
dry.
Instruction was there.
I
For the introduction, I'd say 5 out of 10.
Introduction.
You're being too generous now.
I feel like they would fail on the introduction. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say 5 out of 10. Because no hook, no preparation, just thesis. And the
Just
thesis
try.
output, yeah, and no creativity. So.
Yeah. It's like you can't bread without water. It's dry. Very dry.
Now, this is our grades. If she was in the
Wow.
BJC,
she would have get a 3 or 4.
no, they wouldn't mark her this hard. I don't think they would mark her this hard. If she was in
Probably because of the question she was to write, they wouldn't mark it as hard too.
No, this essay just looking at it, I didn't even read it properly, but this looked like a BC, B or C. How they would mark it, look like a B or C, in all honesty.
Solid B minus.
This person just sounds so like reading it. I don't know who this person is. I tell you could read a thing and I know the person.
You don't know who this person is.
Listen to that message you
You
who
don't
this person
know.
is. I will message you. Who this
No, no.
I know.
Date, we already know these certain people assigning the work. You always call their name.
You don't know. You don't know.
It ain't that. It's just
They
that.
know too, so
No, I just know how this person is talk.
Well,
You could define a person by the way they talk, and this person write. You write like how you talk. So I don't know
like
this is.
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
So you talk boring, and the person talk dry.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so I think, in all honesty, if this was if the person was in the exam, they would either get a B or a C for this essay.
It's like
the person, yeah. See, my school
so
is
staying on the introduction, you're giving them like a B or C.
Now, the reason why but for me, and what we know and what we expect, we give them a 5. But in a national exam, I've seen students who, man, they don't even know how to write properly, and they say, "What did you get for your BJC? Oh, I get a B, I get an A." And in the back of my head, I'm like, how in the world?
This was during your time in school, like.
No, even today, like, it's just that
Most
they
people are
really is they really they really they ain't really too pet peevish. So
The topic you choose to write about.
I think it's the topic, but it's also they also remember they also look at a spectrum. So this student is definitely an above average student, clearly. Clearly.
I agree.
So,
she knows what she's doing.
You can tell the student know what they're doing. Like, they ain't just slapping names on the paper. So remember the BJC is what's the word that they use? It's both exams are oh my goodness, what's that S word that they used? It's comparative. Like, that's not the word I'm looking for, but like, we look at it's relative. So it's based on what other students did. Not statistics. And so curve. That's the word. Curve. Yeah, the word. The word is curve. So it's marked on the curve. So they look at relative to what other students did, how well this candidate did. And
so y'all don't give them a grade until y'all finish it then. Finish everything.
No. I mean,
because you say if it's relative to what people do, then you can't really give them a grade until you see that what the average is.
No, okay, what I mean to say is, okay, take for example, like the highest mark was 89, right? Out of everything. So after you sum it up, the highest mark is 89. Then 89 becomes the A. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I mean. And then the 88 would become on, and so on and so forth. So this is clearly an above average student. Clearly.
Yeah. So.
But for us, we can give them a 5 out of 10. To let them know that what's expected of them is definitely better, right?
Okay, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Even those above average students, even though they are above student, right? If they went into exam, personally at my school, they smart kind of hard, so I feel like they wouldn't get a high rating for the introduction. Because when you write essays at my school, they just make you write it over if you don't write it like clearly or like with some type of excitement inside of it.
Excitement, yeah. And this definitely has the excitement part. But it had the basics though. Like, I would say that. It had the basics. The thesis and the position and the clear reasons. So, you gotta give it where you know, you gotta give it its props. Um, but definitely it lack excitement. And the vocabulary just needs to improve some more. Um, and of course, all the grammar issues need to get sorted out with punctuations and stuff. Okay, so that's us. We clearly out of time.
So does it have potential though?
Oh, sure, definitely,
Did
definitely.
it did.
All I need to do is add that hook, and that
And
way,
a vocabulary.
yeah, yeah,
That's it.
that's it. Then we good to go. Yeah. Okay,
Look how you
so
turn a C to A so quickly. A hook and
okay,
vocabulary.
exactly. Yeah. All right, so that brings us to the end of this class because it's way
Oh,
past
Mr.
time.
Petit, it's kind of hard to use vocabulary though, because you really got to think about it, and
Yeah,
you don't get no extra paper. That in the exam, I want to ask for another paper.
hey, listen, it comes with practice. Like the vocabulary have to already be in you. Like so, you don't come to the exam try and think
Yeah, it could
vocabulary.
be in you, but you still want to not take a risk, you know,
No, like
like
you.
keep on second guess. Hey, is this should be this? Should I put this here or should I put this there?
No,
You know.
it becomes natural. You know, some certain words you use, um, it just becomes a part of your vocabulary. Like you just naturally use concise. You naturally use inevitable. You naturally
No,
use
Mr.
like that's
Petit,
just it's just a
right?
part. It's just
Mr.
a part of
Petit,
your.
the way you talking right now, you aren't really using a huge vocabulary. Even though you have it, you're not using it because you're trying to relate to us, right?
Yes.
So it's like that. Like you don't use it like in an everyday setting, but if you
Yes.
was writing, you would use it.
Yes. I see your point. So it does take thought. Um, you know, if you need an extra paper, get it. But I think what I did before my exam is that I wrote a lot of essays before the thing. So and I time myself. So time yourself and write a lot of essays so that you can get used to generating ideas quick. All right. But my
I
time.
think I read enough JPRs and essays
But
for me to be able to get.
no problem. But my time is up. And so see y'all tomorrow, God's spare, at 6 p.m.
Goodbye. Good
Yeah,
night.
good night.
Petit,
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
Miss Petit.
some
Today,
man's wife.
Yes, ma'am.
biology, you're gonna mark it and send me the answers,
I'm
or
gonna send you the answers.
so you didn't look at it?
I saw it. I'm gonna send you it right now. I mean, not right now. I'm gonna send you the
No, you can
answers.
send me the morals, whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the answers so you can see where you went
Um,
wrong or right.
okay.
Mr. Petit,
Yes, sir.
did you remember that SAT language we was always going over?
Yeah.
And remember, part of the questions is asking, do you think the writer used this word properly?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be like that? Like, that's one of the reasons why you would hesitate to use these words. So you want to know if you're using them properly, even in the SAT, like
no,
that.
no,
They
no,
ain't using it properly.
no. It like you become so familiar with the word that you ain't guessing if you're using it properly. You know you're using it properly. So it comes with growth, bro. Like that's just how it is. Like
All right, I get it.
yeah, it comes with growth. All
Mr.
right.
Petit,
Yes, sir.
can we go over those math questions tomorrow?
Sure, no problem. All right. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
I mean, the ones that I sent you, though.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
I mean, all right.
yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Good night. Have a wonderful one.